Ever feel like buying a home, especially your first one, comes with like a million hurdles?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it can definitely feel that way.
It's like they make it extra complicated or something. And the down payment, oh man, that's like the biggest hurdle of them all, right?
Right.
Like, how are you supposed to save that much, especially with how expensive everything is these days?
It's a common worry for sure.
Well, I was digging into this blog post, the down payment assistance you didn't know about, and let me tell you, it was like a light bulb moment.
Oh, tell me more. Tell me more. What kind of down payment assistance are we talking about here?
Okay, get this. 80%, that's 80% of first-time home buyers actually qualify for some kind of down payment assistance.
Why?
Crazy, right?
80%, you said.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is. But here's the kicker. Only 13% actually use it. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket and then just tossing it in the trash.
Oh, wow. You're right. 80% eligible,
Yeah.
but only 13% taking advantage. That makes you wonder why.
Right. Like, if it's that common, why aren't we hearing more about it? This blog post is by our real estate team, the Kombrink team, and even they seem surprised by those numbers.
Makes you wonder, what's stopping people from, cashing in on this assistance? Is it just that they don't know about it? Or maybe lenders aren't doing a great job telling people about it?
That's what I was thinking. The blog post mentions down payment assistance, but, it's not one size fits all, right? Like, some are grants you don't have to pay back, which is awesome.
Grants, oh yeah, those are the best.
The best. But then others are more like low interest loans.
Right, right.
And then some are like specifically for first-time home buyers.
Exactly. And, knowing which program is actually the best fit for you, that's where it gets a little tricky. But hey, you got to know what's out there first, right?
It's like, how are you supposed to choose if you don't even know what you're choosing from?
Yeah, it's like wandering around a maze in the dark.
Totally. Which makes that 80% qualification even more frustrating. Like, you might be eligible for a program that could totally change the game for you, but if nobody tells you about it.
It's almost like missing out on a secret level in your favorite video game just because you didn't press the right buttons.
Okay, love that analogy. So we've got all these first-time buyers potentially leaving money on the table because they don't know about these programs. But then we see those headlines about record high down payments. Like, this blog post mentions a Redfin report median down payment hit a whopping $67,500 back in June.
Yeah, I saw that headline. It's definitely a bit daunting, especially if you're just starting to think about buying a home.
Exactly. So how do these two things even coexist? Like, is it actually getting harder to afford a down payment, or is this assistance kind of like leveling the playing field?
See, that's where things get a little tricky. The thing is, the average down payment, yeah, that might be going up, but that doesn't automatically mean that the minimum you need has, changed a whole lot,
Okay, so are you saying it's more about, like, how it's being presented, not, like, the actual requirements changing overnight? Because, yeah, I gotta admit, seeing those headlines, it makes you kind of nervous to even start the whole home buying thing.
Totally get it. But think about it this way. Those higher averages, they're being driven up by people who already own homes, right? They're the ones who've benefited from the crazy housing market. Their homes are worth more. So when they sell and buy again, they've got more equity to throw around. It doesn't mean that Y, as a first-time buyer, suddenly got to find an extra, 20 grand from somewhere.
Hey, so more like those who already have get to have more. That makes sense, I guess. So it's more about current homeowners using those gains, not that the bar has been raised for first-time buyers.
Exactly. It's not like you need to be making these massive down payments right off the bat. And to really get why that average is going up, I actually dug a little deeper and found this report from HousingWire. They had two main reasons. Ready for this?
Hit me with it.
So, number one, even when those minimum down payment amounts haven't really changed, some buyers, the ones who can swing it, of course, they're choosing to put down more upfront. Why? Because it usually means lower monthly payments.
So it's like a strategic move, right, for anyone worried about, like, interest rates or just wanting to keep their monthly costs down in the long run.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between what you can afford up front and what will make you comfortable in the long haul. Now, reason number two from HousingWire goes back to what I was saying earlier. Homeowners, with their fancy equity, they're jumping back into the market and dropping some serious cash on those down payments, which skews the average.
Okay, so we've tackled that whole scary headline about skyrocketing down payments, but it still kind of brings us back to that first mystery. If all this assistance is out there, and it's obviously more common than people think, why aren't first-time buyers, like, using it left and right? What's the deal?
You said it before, it's like navigating a maze blindfolded. There's so much information out there, so many different programs. It can feel totally overwhelming. Honestly, that's where talking to a lender,
Hmm?
and I mean early on in the process, is super important.
So it's not just about knowing these programs exist, it's about knowing how to actually work the system and having someone in your corner who can be your guide. Kind of like that line from the blog post, don't leave money on the table.
100%. That little bit of effort up front, getting your finances in order, meeting with a lender, it can make a world of difference. Just imagine holding the keys to your own place, all because you dug a little deeper and found a program you almost missed out on.
Talk about a confidence boost, knowing you explored every option and made the most of it.
Exactly. It's all about empowering yourself, right? Arming yourself with knowledge and maybe even getting a head start on your homeowner journey. Plus, a good lender can clear up any of those myths or misconceptions you've probably heard about down payment assistance.
Okay, so we've established a few things. Down payment assistance is a thing. It's more common than people realize. And talking to a lender is key. But let's be real, the whole finding a lender thing can feel like its own hurdle, you know? How do you even start? How do you know who to trust with all that?
Right?
It's like, how do you even choose? It feels like a gamble you don't want to lose.
I hear you. And actually, that's something this blog post doesn't really get into referrals.
Oh, you mean like asking around, seeing if any friends or family have lender recommendations?
Exactly. People who've bought homes recently, especially if they use down payment assistance, they can be like the best resource. They've been there, done that.
Yeah, it's like having a friend who knows the secret menu.
Exactly. And don't forget about online reviews. Those are helpful too. Spend a little time looking up different lenders, see what other people are saying, especially look for lenders who specialize in working with first-time buyers.
That makes sense. They'd probably have more experience with those assistance programs too, right?
Exactly. They know the ins and outs, what to expect, all that.
So it's not just finding any lender. It's about finding the right lender, one that gets you and your goals.
100%. And hey, don't be shy. Ask a ton of questions during those first meetings.
Hmm.
A good lender, they're not going to be weirded out. They'll appreciate that you're being thorough, wanting to understand everything.
Yeah, it should feel like a conversation, not like an interrogation or something.
For sure. Buying a home, especially your first one, it's a big deal. You deserve to feel good about every step of the way.
Totally. So as we wrap up this deep dive into down payment assistance, what's the big takeaway? The thing you want our listeners to remember?
That knowledge is power. Seriously, don't let those crazy headlines scare you off, and don't be afraid to dive in and learn about what's out there. Down payment assistance, it's a real thing. It's more common than people realize, and with a little research and the right guidance, it can be the thing that makes homeownership a reality for you.
Love it. It's all about taking that first step.
You got this.
And on that note, deep divers, we'll leave you with this. If down payment assistance is so impactful, why aren't we talking about it more? Why isn't everyone shouting about it from the rooftops? Something to think about as you start your home buying adventure. And remember, you're more ready than you think you are.